Alright, hello everyone, Simon here. Welcome back to our Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy playthrough. We are only in the first game, but we are nearing the end of the first game. Alright. The final day. Trial letter. February 25, 1206 District Court Defendant Lobby number 2. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Okay, good, I won't worry about it. Later. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. I take it Lana's having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give you this. She asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. What is that? Evidence law? And there's like a little chicken with like a detective's head and pipe. Oh, that's like that's his Sherlock Holmes outfit, except it's a chicken. That might be a pun in Japanese, I'm not sure. Evidence law. Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. I mean, again, the game is just giving you new stuff. Instead of like the player having any agency to find stuff to solve problems, the game just gives you the stuff and then tells you to solve it. I mean, I understand that even if you find it, technically the game gave it to you. Because, you know, the game designer put it in the game for you to find. I just feel like there's more gameplay that way. And it's like, it's a more compelling story that way. Instead of just like, people keep handing you the pieces of the puzzle and then you just like put them together. Shouldn't the player like find this stuff? Anyway. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. You could at least study some evidence law, really. So the police department has to approve the evidence. So if Gant tries to say that he didn't approve something, then we'll say the evidence is only able to be presented if he did. The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said if you're planning to take him on, you're going to need this book. Him. I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Evidence law securely slipped into pocket. From Miss Sky explains the 2 rules of evidence law. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. It's not. That's where you're wrong, detective. Ha! Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today hasn't begun yet! Nani? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Sky found out she unwittingly caused a man's death. And now, you're telling me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal! You're missing the point, detective. Dinah didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. Nani? And we are going to expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Oh, I didn't read the book. The game doesn't give you time to read the book. February 25, 1252, District Court, Courtroom number 9. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Rules for submitting evidence. Rule 1. no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. So if any evidence is presented, the police has to approve it. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Unregistered evidence? Wait a minute. Must be presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Alright, back. Mr. Edgeworth, yes, Your Honor. The Inquiry Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, ahem. Normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness. But, cough, cough. This isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses? I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. Nani, but there's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable! Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls... Save. The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. Can I just I just saved the game. Can I just mess this up? I call for Mike Meekins. Alright, let's do it. Damon Gant! Damon Gant! The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. The Damon Gant! What does he have to do with anything? As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courtroom. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. Alright, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this? Some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Ha ha ha! No lunch for you ever again. Owned. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardboy, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Acting. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Alrighto, what's with the grim face? You're going to prison. First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you are very brave, or very foolish, or very spiky. I'm very spiky. Look how spiky he is. Look at those spikes. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Well, don't shoot yourself then. Weapons? Sure, take my testimony for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. Nani? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with it a certain risk. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, If this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well, the witness may now begin his testimony. SL9 incident. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. It's so bad. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Is that when Dark was arrested? He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. That's not true. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I better hit him hard and fast. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day. Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That probably what spooked Dark and made him run away like that. Was the defendant Lana Skye also present in the room? I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs, I guess you could say. He got lucky. What's this about a power outage? Oh, that! If the elevator stops all of a sudden, and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil was when that knife went into his heart though. Wait a minute. Dark got to the elevator, there was a power outage, and the elevator stopped. He wasn't in the office? That's not funny. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Could you tell us what you saw? It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor. Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls. Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. How can you know that? Because of the victim's body, it had already been moved. So that means you found the body near Lana's desk. The thing is, we didn't find any bloodstains on the suit of armor. We didn't find any bloodstains on the knife on the suit of armor. But I don't think that's part of the evidence we can give in this game. That's right. I think you said earlier it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor. Yes? Anyway, as you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. So you were saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office. That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt, but moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances. Is that how it really went down? Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd be better off staring at the court record. Worthy, always the smooth talker. But which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence. But that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I've got to link Gant to the incident. I mean, look. Let me save, because again I don't trust the game, not because I'm not confident in myself. So we found the piece of the jar in his we found the piece of his jar in his safe. So he did do something with it. That was in Gant's safe. It wasn't in anything that. So he did have something to do with the forgery because he hid the evidence in a place that Lana Sky couldn't access. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery, but I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar for example. That's the blue badger you showed us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation! Chief Gant, what is the meaning of this? Oh, here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery. Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured Dick will receive his due punishment. What? Nani? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and their relation to the forgery that took place at this crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. No, we do. We just want you to hang yourself. Evidence and forgery. Let's see, was it now? A jar fragment and a list. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were discovered after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. For you! Oh. Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistakes again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. Alright, IG, in return though. I know that place, right? What? Why are these guys telepathic? Evidence and forgery. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. I'd appreciate it if you'd stop making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. Yeah, that's right, so I didn't do it. Nani? I'll have you know, back in the day I once broke into a cattle ranch and Don't say that. Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when Raito's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal. Grr. I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery, I'm not through speaking yet, Righto. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. If they were found after Dak was convicted, then they're worthless. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dak was sentenced. Or you could have taken it from the crime scene. Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient, right? The chief is talking about a possibility as long as you can't rule that out. Your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come now, Righto. Think about it. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember, who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here, but in the end the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. Well, now do you see? Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Really, Chief Gant? At the very least there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all this. Oh? I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would of course be the position you have, Chief of Police. Oh! The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh ho 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 ho, oh, that's a good one. Huh. Do you really think I'm that incompetent? Yes. Yes. Yes, I do. What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes, he was going to be made chief anyway. Gah, be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy, you know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's out in the open now. Aji, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. I mean, obviously, you did it to have leverage over Lana's guy. You're right, you don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You were raised to be tough on crime? You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Oh, ho, 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 ho. That's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? Point out accomplice! True, you might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean.